Hi, I'm Hillary Wynn, Custom Content Manager for Meister Media Worldwide, the publisher of CropLife magazine. I'd like to welcome Wesley Hahn, Senior Agronomist for Tigersol. He is going to answer some questions about elemental sulfur as an essential plant nutrient. But first, a little about Wesley. At Tigersol, he coordinates soil fertility and crop nutrition research with various research organizations in the U.S. and internationally. He leads seminars, publishes technical bulletins and newsletters on applications of sulfur, bentonite, and micronutrients. His training and publications incorporate research results that demonstrate agronomic benefits of a complete plant nutrition management program. Wesley, welcome.
Well, thank you, Hillary. It's an honor to join you in answering some questions as relates to sulfur as a plant nutrient.
Wesley, what is the basis for the perception about elemental sulfur not being an effective nutrient source for plants?
Well, there are multiple sulfur sources that are available, and one of those sources is elemental sulfur. Most people think of elemental sulfur in its true, pure elemental form. It's 99.5% pure sulfur. It is a dry, crystalline solid that's bright yellow in color. And with that type of sulfur, it has varying particle sizes, referred to as granules, but those sizes can be anywhere from over 1/4 of an inch in diameter down to a millimeter. But unfortunately, those sizes are not functional as it relates to plant nutrition. Whereas Tigersol takes this elemental sulfur, and in the production process, we heat it up to about 250 degrees, and elemental sulfur becomes flowable. So we can put it into a mixing tank and add bentonite clay to it, and bentonite clay then does enhance the product.
Why is bentonite clay added to Tigersol sulfur's products?
There are multiple sources of bentonite clay. There's predominantly a calcium and a sodium base, and they have different characteristics. In general, bentonite clay has a high moisture absorption capacity, and here again, it can vary between the calcium source and the sodium source. So Tigersol will mix and match those to maximize the swelling characteristics of that clay. And when we add that to the Tiger elemental sulfur, it does enhance the functionality.
If elemental sulfur is not water soluble, how does it become available for plant uptake?
Excellent question. And I think this can be a sort of confusing for some people. The soil contains native bacteria that can convert elemental sulfur to sulfate. And with that, the thiobacillus is the predominant species, and this conversion process involves the bacteria feeding on the elemental sulfur and converting it to sulfate, which is plant available. This is an ongoing process that's called oxidation. It occurs primarily when the soil temperature rises above the 65-degree range, and is ongoing throughout the growing season. And as the soil temperatures rise in the mid to late season, you have a greater amount of sulfate that's being released in this oxidation process.
So, what is the time interval between application and plant availability of a Tigersol product?
I receive that question quite often, Hillary, and it's actually a function of a number of environmental circumstances that occur. And here again comes back to soil moisture, soil temperature, when the bacteria are most active. We've conducted some laboratory trials to evaluate sulfate release from varying sizes of our product. And in doing so, we saw that the very small particles are down to about 75 microns, released much faster. But over the duration of the trial of about, 12 weeks, actually, we saw that even the larger particle sizes, that in that 300 to 275 microns, also released sulfate. So when we averaged out over the 12-week period, it was about 80% release. Now, granted, when we go to the field, those dynamics do change, and here again can change the time at which we see a release. But under normal circumstances, when the soil temperature is about that 65 degrees or higher, you should see results in 2 to 3 weeks.
Is product application timing critical to obtaining a crop response?
Critical, no. We do recommend apply in the spring or the fall. Both are responsive to seeing a crop response. But over the last 14 years that I've been doing research with Tigersol, 95% of my trials have been applied during the spring season. Now, we've done some on-farm fall applications the past 3 years and seeing a very nice response from that as well. And to say that one is much greater than the other is going to depend upon the season, the fields, and the rate at which you see a response. Now, the unique part about fall application is we don't see any release or very minimal release or conversion of sulfur to sulfate due to the soil temperatures being below that 60-65 degree range. So therefore, the elemental sulfur will stay in the soil during the winter months, go through the freezing and thawing, wetting and drying cycles, which actually helps to even further break down the sulfur particles going into the spring season. So when the soil's warm, we see activity in the springtime be responsive then from that time forward.
Where can our audience go to find out more information?
I like to direct people to our website at tigersol.com. That's spelled without the hyphen in Tigersol. And there's a page there where you can contact our regional sales account managers, or you can contact me directly via phone or email through those links. So, Hillary, I hope what we've shared today shared some insight on the functionality of Tigersol soil elemental sulfur, which is then with the added clay being sulfur bentonite. I think it comes back to what works best for farmers, where if it's fall or spring applied, being which best suits their management style. So with that, I appreciate the time.
Wesley, thanks again for taking the time to talk with me today.